Aam Aadmi Party versus the Aam Aadmi in the maximum city. And to debate this more, we have Shobha De, author, joining us from Mumbai. Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP. Reena Gupta, Aam Aadmi Party leader, has a lot of explaining to do. Brijesh Kalappa, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for speaking to us. Ms. Gupta, was this required?
So, is this Rahul? Yeah, I cannot hear you properly.
This is Sanket Upadhyay here, ma'am. My question to you is simple. Was this required?
See, if Arvind has caused inconvenience, then we are definitely all very sorry for that.
No,
but
if he has caused inconvenience,
we have a culture.
The question is not if.
Yes, okay, you're saying inconvenience has been caused. We are very sorry for that. But Arvind has always taken public transport. A lot of our leaders always take public transport. And I think it's a very good idea for leaders of this country to travel by public transport. So A, the condition of public transport in our country improves, and B, they actually know what people face when they travel by public transport. And we are very sorry for the inconvenience that the commuters in Mumbai had to face today. But I think over time, as more and more commuters and people of the country start getting used to seeing leaders traveling by public transport, they are not going to flock to see leaders on public transport,
Ms. Gupta,
because that will become everyday news.
Ms. Gupta, the problem has been that your party leader Arvind Kejriwal went to Mumbai to understand the problems faced by the Aam Aadmi, is what you are telling me right now. But it seems that he ended up being the biggest problem for them. Wouldn't you agree with this assessment?
We are sorry for that, but that does not mean that public leaders should not travel by public transport. I think that is the one thing which will improve the condition of public transport.
Ms. Gupta, don't you see a pattern in what is happening?
Air-conditioned cars.
No, don't you see a pattern in what is happening? You know, your political opponents,
what the Aam Aadmi faces.
Your political opponents would have perhaps the right reason to say that these are theatrics. One theatric act a day.
I don't think these are theatrics. These are not theatrics, because our political
we have a spokesperson of the BJP and the Congress on this panel.
They are not used to this.
Mr. Nalin Kohli, you were at the forefront of what happened outside your party office.
Absolutely, and quite rightfully too. And I'm sure that every man or woman whose house is going to be almost taken in forcibly by a set of goons will be also at the forefront of defending it. I think that should go unsaid. Now let me come to the Aam Aadmi Party. We have a fascinating example today of someone, their spokesperson, saying people will get used to it. So people are expected to get used to Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's opening sentence, I am an anarchist, and they are supposed to get used to a whole agenda of anarchy. People will get used to their idea of Swaraj, which is barge into anybody's house, anybody's office, like Somnath Bharti run pornographic sites, like Arvind Kejriwal make false allegations, complain about everyone, speak about private jets but travel by one. Madam, I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. As also the Aam Aadmi Party, Swaraj is only we will speak. We will not listen to anyone else. We are holier than thou. What are we living? They also have the Swaraj to rub away Kashmir from the map of India and put it up on their website as giveaway Kashmir too. So I think the Aam Aadmi Party doesn't have an agenda except telling people get used to crowds, get used to chaos, because nowhere else, if 5 lakh people attend Mr. Modi's rally, do metal detectors break or are torn down?
No, Mr. Kohli, no.
People are discussed.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem. Mr. Kohli, you would have thought that this would be an opportunity to perhaps take pot shots at the Aam Aadmi Party, but I would like to quote 3 instances. September 11, 2013, a report in the Jaipur Bhaskar, Narendra Modi's rally brings doom to commuters in Jaipur. 18th November 2013, Narendra Modi rally gridlocks Bengaluru, Deccan Chronicle. 18th October 2013, The Hindu, Namo effect arrests traffic jams. Do you realize?
Okay, I'll answer all 3. No, I'll answer all 3. And I'll answer all your 3 things.
Okay.
Mr. Modi did not decide to make a charade on the maniacal way in which Mr. Kejriwal does for media spectacles. Mr. Modi took, and the party has taken permission for each one of the rallies, and rightfully people will go for the rallies. If 5 lakh people decide to come to hear Mr. Modi, it's a matter of pride for us. Certainly they are going to travel by the roads that should have been built in 10 years and the city should not be congested. But we are not making a spectacle. We are doing our job as per permission, seeking the appropriate grounds to do the rallies. We are not trying to run our campaign on a spectacle a day on the media.
Okay, Ms. Gupta, before I come back to you, let me quickly get in Shobha Day here. Ms. Day, you have in fact tweeted through the day, and also some of the prominent Mumbaikars have tweeted through the day. My question to you is of a different kind. You know, had the same thing been done by, say, the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena or the Shiv Sena, would Mumbaikars have reacted the same way?
Let me put it this way, I am not a spokesperson here for any party. I am not here to defend hooliganism, no matter who commits it. So what we have on the show today sound like two propagandists, one speaking up for Narendra Modi's style of governance and the other one speaking up for, of course, Arvind Kejriwal. Now the city of Mumbai is, the lifeline of the city are its trains, and the workforce here is not amused no matter who disrupts that. So it's very disheartening, it's very disappointing to hear the person who's speaking on behalf of the Aam Aadmi Party talk about it's better than travelling in air-conditioned cars. I didn't think I'd ever hear myself say this. I'd rather have a leader or whosoever in an air-conditioned car who does not disrupt traffic, does not indulge in a breakage of public property, then have a person who comes here with due symbolism in a dedicated train. I mean, what is the message you're sending out? A dedicated train, a fixed auto rickshaw, and a very angry city, which simply doesn't understand this form of making whatever it is statement that he wishes to make. It is very disheartening because this is not how one expects an Aam Aadmi to behave. Because the Aam Aadmi and the Aam Aurat of the city, we respect one another when we use public transport. We do so with consideration. And politics of disruption is something that only a leader can set the tone for.
Absolutely.
If the leader does not condone such behavior, the rules of conduct have to come from the leader. Any leader who endorses it or looks the other way when party people indulge in such tactics is a leader who's saying
Ms.
he's
Gupta, what
okay
will you say to
with
this?
their behavior. I'm sorry, this is just not on.
Ms. Gupta, what will you say to this, apart from saying sorry? Because then I will have something else to ask you.
As I said earlier, as I said earlier, we are very sorry for the inconvenience that was
okay,
caused.
then here is my follow-up question.
Can I complete please? Can I complete please?
Okay.
But we also firmly believe that the ways our cities are growing, the public transport in the cities needs to be improved. And if more and more people, more and more leaders and opinion makers started taking public transport, they will make sure that when they are sitting in the parliament,
Ms. Gupta, that is the whole point. No, this is not about public transport.
To ensure that we have a
Ms. Gupta, this is not about public transport. My follow-up question to you saying sorry is this. Hasn't the Aam Aadmi Party become more like a political formula? You know, go to Gujarat, knock on the doors of Narendra Modi, create a scene. One particular episode a day.
I think the people who are breaking toll booths and who are getting into things like that, those
I'm not justifying that.
Anarchy. I don't think traveling by public transport
Breaking metal detectors
in any way, as Mr. Kohli was talking about.
Breaking the law at Rail Bhavan in Delhi.
Then obviously, let's not get into Rail Bhavan. I think that's
why not get into Rail Bhavan?
Episode and we've really
Ms. Gupta, why not get into Rail Bhavan?
These channels. I think the viewers.
Do you think it's an act of the Aam Aadmi sleeping on the footpath outside the Rail Bhavan? Is that the way of Arvind Kejriwal trying to connect with the Aam Aadmi?
I would like to stick to the topic of the day. That I again apologize for the inconvenience, and if some of our volunteers and supporters broke the metal detector.
But what is your answer to my next question? I asked a follow-up question. Is this a formula that the Aam Aadmi Party is using? One particular act a day?
No, it's not a formula at all. No, it's not a formula at all.
Then how do you explain the fact that this has become formulaic? This happens city after city after city. Wherever Aam Aadmi Party leaders go, particularly Mr. Kejriwal, chaos follows.
Sir, Arvind is a popular leader. When he goes to a city, people want to come and meet him because after a long time They're able to relate to a leader
You're
like
blaming
that.
it on people.
No, I'm not blaming it on people. It's Arvind's popularity. People want to come and see him.
And in the process, perhaps create some chaos. Let me get in Mr. Kalappa. Yes, Mr. Kalappa, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, Sanket, I'd only like to point out that for the benefit of the Aam Aadmi Party representative here, just a fact that last year Rahul Gandhi travelled from Gorakhpur to Mumbai by the regular train, and that was a journey which was beyond a day. And I'd only like to point out that he travelled incognito, travelled mixed with everybody.
No, Mr. Kalappa, again,
with hardly any security.
There is no, space for propaganda. No.
Let me complete what I'm saying, please.
Rahul Gandhi also travelled using the same public transport, the local in Mumbai in January 2010.
No,
similar scenes were seen then as well.
The train first. After that, he went by the Mumbai local. And on both occasions, there was hardly anybody who was inconvenienced.
I think you're talking about January 2010. You're talking about January 2010, aren't you?
Absolutely. And at that time, you must remember that we had a government in place there, and a lot of people must have been trying to meet with him, but still, there was no inconvenience to anybody. This is the kind of...
I remember the month, I remember the year, and that is why, Mr. Kalappa, I am telling you, similar scenes were seen at that time as well. And many prominent Congress leaders were travelling with him on the local train.
I disagree with you completely. I disagree with you completely. There was no disfigurement, there was no defacement of any public property, there was never damage to any public property. Of course, Rahul Gandhi is a national leader, so people were thronged to meet with him. That's
why would you accuse the Aam Aadmi Party if they were to make the same argument?
No, see,
Ms. Gupta is making the same argument. Arvind Kejriwal is very popular.
But let them do it in a more orderly fashion is what I'm saying. Please, Mr. Kejriwal has this tendency of overdoing everything. Right? Even like you rightly pointed out what happened in the prelude to 26 January. He has this tendency to overdo everything. What he has to do is to do some things with a sense of moderation. You see, he goes to Gujarat and he rails against Mr. Modi, but doesn't give credit to the fact that our leaders have raised all these issues, which Mr. Kejriwal is now raising. This is typical of him, that he goes, tries to hijack a point which has already been made and very well made.
Okay. Ms. Shobha Dey, you just heard the political arguments from all sides, Yeah, Mr. Kohli, I'll come across to you. Ms. Dey, you heard the political arguments. It seems that the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party, or perhaps given an opportunity, even the BJP, will raise the same issue. If we had a representative of the MNS or the Shiv Sena, they would have made the same point. Our leaders are very popular and people, throng. And if in the process something happens, we are sorry. What about the city?
Unfortunately, the city comes last when it comes to leaders with this kind of a mindset. But the more important thing is that Ms. Gupta keeps talking about how leaders should use public transportation. It's all about commuters. But I just want to remind her that the ordinary commuter does not have a dedicated train, nor does the ordinary commuter have security, nor can they have a rickshaw that's entirely and only for themselves, and the photo op has been fixed. What we saw today was very, very disappointing. One expected better from Kejriwal, one expected better from his supporters, because he does stand for change. This is not change. This is the same old gundagardi, this is the same old Tod Ford, it's the same old stuntbazi that the other parties, everybody is sick of these kind of symbolic gestures. We would rather have those guys travel even by choppers or however they wish to travel, spend their own money on it and not inconvenience the public. Bombay is a city where time is money. Bombay people value every microsecond. They are busy, they do not care.
Now, can I tell you something,
Most of these
Ms.
people
Gupta?
perhaps were hired crowds. I don't know. But they are not impressed by these kind of political stunts.
Absolutely.
That's what all three parties, whichever party should understand. Inconvenience Bombay and you'll only get the Mumbaikars' wrath, not their admiration.
Now, Ms. Gupta, can I just tell you something before I go across to Mr. Nalin Kohli? Ms. Gupta, before you speak, just one point that I wanted to mention. The day Arvind Kejriwal was supposed to take oath at the Ram Leela Maidan, again, a very symbolic gesture by Arvind Kejriwal. A lot of money was spent on that exercise. From Ghaziabad, where he stays, to that particular metro station where he, actually got a drop, till that particular stretch he took the metro. His personal car actually came to that spot. Then there was a whole rally from that metro station to the Ramlila Maidan. No, he could have taken his normal car, that blue Wagoner. I'm sure you must have been in Delhi, you must have seen what chaos hit the streets of Delhi on that day.
See, sir, the only difference here is that, for Mr. Gandhi and for the other leaders, it's a symbolic gesture. But for us, most of our leaders, even today, travel by metro. And
no. Why these questions are asked to you is because you claim you are a different party. You're very different from the others, no? So if this argument of symbolism applies to others, it should ideally not apply to you. You're a different party.
Because we do it all the time. We don't do it for just one day or anything. Most of our leaders do it all the time. Today I have come to this interview in the metro.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
And I think, I actually think that if more and more of our leaders use public transport, use public hospitals, send our kids to government schools, then the conditions of all of these things will become better.
Now, it should happen as a course of practice, not as symbolism. That's the only limited point that we are making. We are running out of time. Last word to Mr. Nalin Kohli.
Sanket.
Yes, Mr. Kohli.
Sanket, I have to say it, I find the duplicity of the Aam Aadmi Party and their leaders and colleagues absolutely nauseating. I've travelled by the metro many times, never with a camera team. Never did I feel the need to tell the so-called media that I'm travelling by metro. What the big deal? You travel by metro, travel, huh? What is this whole tamasha? If you want to talk governance and we have serious problems, in 49 days, tell me one thing that they did for public transport in Delhi. One single thing they did except tamasha. Every day their fellows barged where they like, said
Mr.
that
Kohli,
we're going to clean up this. But where is the policy and the planning? I want to just say one thing. You see, policy planning is long term. If you want to get water to Gujarat or a past Gujarat, it takes a decade. And you need to have the vision at the start of the decade and the follow-up through it to make sure that water reaches within 10 years.
Mr. Kohli,
the same is going to be about transportation. It's not going to start with a symbolic ride in the train. You will need to say, today we need to plan for 25 years ahead. Just as the metro was planned in the NDA, it's completed in the Congress. It's a continuous, but you can't have this kind of charade.
We're completely running out of time.
Agenda is chaos.
We're completely running out of time in this particular debate. But Mr. Kohli, before I let all of you go, my last question on a completely different note. Would you agree that some leaders from the Bharatiya Janata Party also pelted stones that day when there was chaos outside your party office?
Of course they did.
Without a doubt, let me make this clear.
You agree that there were?
No.
You're equally guilty?
Mr. Kadapa would like us to believe that the Congress has a clean thing. But I'll simply say I was at the BJP office and I also held a stick in my hand. I charged out to defend my office, but it's my challenge on this show, as I've said numerous times before. Show me a shot of me breaking the head of the man who claims that I've broken his head and I'll leave politics forever. I don't do charades like Kejriwal and his set of duplicitous people. I'm simply saying I held a stick for my defense, but I never used it. And all the footage is there for anyone to examine. And I have no qualms about saying it.
No, so but then Mr. Kohli, again, see, that is the whole point. No, it would be convenient on your part to perhaps, blame the Aam Aadmi Party for certain acts, but then, the visuals will speak for themselves.
And Sanket, I'll say the same for you and I'll say it for anyone. Let a set of goons barge into your house and then I would like to see how many of you would like to sit down and debate the niceties of law. If the right to protest is there, the right to protect and the right to defend also exists equally.
Right to throw stones.
Nalinji, a party office is not a
Well, I mean, straight away the stones started and we said it's being investigated. The stones, we don't have stones in our office.
The point is, Mr. Nalin Kohli, as we are completely running out of time, the point here is whether it is pelting stones in Lutyens, Delhi, which is of course central Delhi, or whether it is causing inconvenience in Mumbai. It's Aam Aadmi versus the Aam Aadmi Party or the other political parties for that matter. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in this particular debate.